Hey folks, before we get into the real meat of today's video, I just want to throw up a quick disclaimer. Obviously we have a very close relationship with Starbreeze and Payday. In fact, some of our members of Rusty Chains were even featured in the 10 Years of Payday documentary. You can find that on the Overkill Software YouTube channel. Anyway, as always, everything in our videos is public information, so there's no leaks or anything like that here. Cool? Alright, cool. On to the main video. So a few days ago, the writer who worked on Payday 2 over the past few years took to the forums to announce that he has left Starbreeze. As far as I know, Joe, also known as Wordsmith, was the only writer working on the Payday series, which would mean the narrative ship is currently without a helmsman. Now this is a pretty poor time for Starbreeze to be in that situation. We know design on Payday 3 is locked and the game itself is being developed, so we can only hope that the story is finished by now. Having a bunch of heists is cool, but after Payday 2 showed how storylines can string 3 or sometimes 4 heists, I think it would be very disappointing to go back to the normal mission of the day style. There's also the issue of getting a new writer to become familiar with the Payday lore. Payday 2's story is told in a combination of web pages, trailers, comics, and of course in-game. Even with the designated career mode though, the story is actually near impossible to follow and decipher in a short amount of time. I don't envy the task of whoever's coming in to have to learn the whole story and get a continuation ready in over a year. However, I don't think it's entirely a negative to now be on the hunt for a new writer. Wordsmith is a nice guy, I've met him a few times, and oh god, it's gonna be hard to do this next segment without seeming mean, but I mean, the dude made a lot of mistakes with the Payday lore. The storyline mode, which is now called career mode, is absolutely full of plot holes. I counted at least 10, and I haven't actually even finished going through it yet. I won't go into all of them here, because, you know, it's a lot, but there are 3 really egregious ones that I had to cover. The first is the assertion that Rust, who joined the Payday gang in 2016, planned Panic Room, which took place in 2011 originally. The second major plot hole in Career that a lot of people actually talk about is the Diamond. Although it's established to have been stolen by the Payday gang for a huge sale and possibly Kataru-related stuff, Career Mode said it was stolen specifically to be used as the dentist's tool to focus the laser of the BFD in the Golden Grin Casino heist. Aside from just being kinda dumb, this ignores the fact that the BFD was designed by Sokol completely independently of the dentist. The third big thing is that Shadow Raid was actually removed from the Career Mode. That is an incredibly big plot point gone. Aside from being the first job done directly on Gage's behalf, it was also the first appearance of Murky Water in Payday 2. Their reappearance obviously had huge implications down the line, and removing their introduction is just whack. This heist also sets the stage for Meltdown, because it sets everything in that in motion, and that is actually still in career mode. The biggest issue, though, comes from what I call Wordsmith's Big Week. We're going to start on October 26th, 2018. Dallas, Duke, Hoxton, and Chains head to an island off the west coast to get Bane in the Hell's Island heist. 5 days later, on November 1st, they're back in DC for the White House heist. That's all well and good. It's everything that happens in between that ruins it. At the same time this is happening, Sokol, Sangres, Sydney, and Clover head to Mexico for the Silk Road campaign. These 5 heists take place all during that single week. This is where things get a bit dicey. Locke still manages all of those heists, while also planning the White House heist, and Locke was still there physically carrying Bane at Hell's Island, and flying the chopper at the White House. It really falls apart when we add in the second campaign, the City of Gold. There's a 4 heist minimum for that one as well. Locke also manages all of those heists. This means in that same 5-day window, Locke participated in 2 heists, while also planning and operating a combined total of 9 others. That suspends my disbelief as far as humanly possible. But it still gets worse. Vlad is on the mic with Locke for San Martin Bank, Breakfast in Tijuana, and Bullock's Mansion during the Silk Road heists. However, he's also kidnapped and tortured during City of Gold, and is then on the mic for the heist after he's rescued as well. Locke is doing all of this at once. I could almost believe that. But Vlad being in these 2 wildly different situations within a 5-day window is quite literally impossible. It falls apart even more when the gang's pilot, Bile, is in Mexico to pick up the Silk Road team in Bullock's mansion at the same time he's off the coast of San Francisco for the Black Cat heist. I don't want to pile on Wordsmith for that huge clusterfuck, but I can't imagine a world where Starbreeze management said, yeah, everything has to happen in this one specific week. There's no reason for it. And in addition to all of that, there's also... yeah. Although I don't mind where the lore went as much as most people do, the objective fact is this. Payday 2 started as a game about 4 people robbing banks, and ended as a game about 22 people fighting the Illuminati's paramilitary army in hopes of stopping them from unleashing biblical Nephilim. Like I said, I don't hate it as much as a lot of people do, but I absolutely understand why so many people were not on board with that transition. If I as a writer changed something so much, and also created so many plot holes, I wouldn't last long as a writer on that project. I know that sounds really mean, but the Payday lore is now, quite frankly, in tatters. If outside circumstances forced that, I wouldn't go as hard on this, but none of these things had to happen. Nobody forced these plot holes or demanded the Payday gang change from Ocean's 11 to the Avengers. This is all talked about pretty frequently amongst long-term players, and I feel like the only reason it isn't talked about more amongst newer players is because Starbreeze made it so impossible to digest the lore for people that aren't freaks like me who spend their time scouring over promo pages from half a decade ago. So with all that said, yeah, maybe Wordsmith leaving isn't actually the worst thing. It gives Payday 3 a chance to get back to a fresh start. Back to robbing banks and less about fighting demons. The only story info we have for Payday 3 right now is that a mysterious enemy forces the original 4 to begin heisting again after their retirement at the end of Payday 2. There's so many interesting places to take that without involving the supernatural or the Illuminati. Give us a soft reboot. Let us put on our masks and just take some money from a bank, please. Thanks everybody for watching. What do you think about what the lore of Payday has become? Are you excited or scared for the story of Payday 3? Let us know in the comments below. Until next time, don't forget to spread that happy and stay rusty.